we're live. Great. That one team, I have no problem with it. No.
And we're looking at I suspect. So, let's see.
We did that.
So I didn't talk about that, and then we part of that.
We're signing up 3-year lease.
No, we didn't, that's why I copied it from the old one. He said,
Oh, okay, so there's no negotiation that took place, really?
Right.
Hey, wait, that's not clear. Do you know if individual market vendors have to get a compliance certificate from Morgan's? Or is it encompassed under
No, I think they have to.
individual? That's new, right? Okay. You're one thing out here, right?
I heard somebody talk about that the other day.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I missed that. Hear all about it. Oh, no. Hey, cool people.
Hey, how you doing?
That's not the one I heard, but, okay.
I'm good. You got your water. Gotta keep Frank
So,
happy.
like,
Good, Mario.
And we are streaming live, and please don't forget to turn on your red light.
Wait, which is on? Red is on?
Yeah.
Red is on? Red is on. Ask the experts.
I remember it was oddball.
Think firearms.
Opposite of.
Red means
traffic light, I
stop
guess.
saying dumb things.
No, that's what the safety.
I know, I just don't know.
All right, I have 4 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. The RDA will continue to meet on the third Wednesday of each month, 4 o'clock here in council chambers. Throughout 2025, agendas will be posted at rdayorkcity.org. We did have an executive session on March 12th to discuss the buying and selling of real estate. Anyone here for public comment? All right, seeing none, approval of the meeting minutes of February 19, 2025. Any additions or corrections to the minutes as distributed? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Financial report.
Your typical cash position is in your packet. You can see a bit of a decline in the total bank account balances of about $10,000, $12,000. A lot of that has to do with utility costs at end market. This time of year, as you're aware, we typically run a little bit more negative because of the cost, the heat market over the winter. Columbia gas bills in December and January ran about $3,000, and last month was about $5,000. So that's a big utility number. Even though we've changed utility providers and have saved some money, it's still, utility costs are through the roof. So you'll see a little bit of a decline there. And we really haven't had a lot of transactional sales to see more income coming in. We did get payment on the Salem Avenue properties from Foursquares. You'll see 556 and 558 have fallen off of our AR in the middle, the accounts receivable. But our accounts receivable does still stand at about $83,000. So we do have funds coming in. And other than that, I did include in your packet, just for fun, profit and loss statement for the authority since I came on board in 2019, and we actually started tracking things. And it's interesting to see the bottom line, or what the reports show as net operating income. It does have a variance from year to year. It's plus 170, minus 240, plus 88. So it depends on the transactions of the year. Some of these reflect the sale of the building on the square. Some of them reflect the sale of the Northwest Triangle. So as you know, we are kind of property dependent. And then further, as shown on the agenda, our stabilization money through the CDBG is approximately $375,254. There are some outstanding invoices to be paid out of that for upkeep, maintenance of the vacant lots that we pay Spoutco to do. And that is all I have for finances. Any questions?
When is that due to be bid out in the fall for snow removal and mowing?
Traditionally, we do it in November. It's pre-snow and post-mowing. And I'd like to put it out again this November.
Did anybody else respond last year?
No, last year we only had one respondent. We had somebody in mind who we really wanted to reply, to respond, but it turns out they weren't an officially licensed business in the city of York. So we helped them get that license, but we didn't know about it until it was too late for the RFP. So hopefully they would reply, or anyone else. We had also discussed breaking it into smaller chunks. Right now, there's probably about 50 lots that need 40 or 50 lots that need maintained on a regular basis. And when Cherie was here, her and I contemplated splitting it into quadrants to have smaller bids that would allow more local people to be able to bid on it, on a project, something that's more manageable for a single sole proprietor person to be able to handle. So I have to look at that before we go out to bid and see if it makes sense.
All right, any other questions? All right, Foursquare.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
All right. Just kind of short and sweet, just wanted to kind of bring everybody up to speed on the Hope and Green project. We have been in an option agreement. I think that expired at the end of the year. I think Glenda made us aware of. But during that time period, we did do our due diligence. We did the environmental phase one. That came back good. We entered into land development agreement and a design agreement. Land development is being done through RGS. The design is being done through Dittenhafer and Murphy. We were approved on December 19th at the zoning hearing board for the necessary variances. We met with the project committee last week to kind of bring everybody up to speed on kind of where we were with that. And I think it was the recommendation in that group for us just to come to the board to, ask for to enter into a redevelopment agreement on this project and with the purchase price or agreement to be determined. And so that's pretty much the update. I'll be meeting with the city every other week for the last 4 or 5 months, just bringing them up to speed on where we are with everything. But if you guys have any specific questions, we can dive into it, but that's kind of the next phase of where we are.
I think everyone, but you were at the meeting last week, Frank. Did you have any questions or anything else that you wanted to ask?
I'm definitely going to abstain from the vote. But in your updates, you did not mention the collaboration with the York Development Corporation.
Correct. So that deal finally got inked last week. So we are in, for anybody else's edification and for public record, we are in an agreement with the Y Development Corporation, YCDC, Y Community Development Corporation. They are helping us raise funds for the engineering and pre-development costs. So we did receive $3 million of ARPA funding. We have secured their additional couple millions, like 2.4 from a lender. And so, but the only thing that was not covered in the ARPA and was not covered through our lending partner is the engineering designs and pre-development costs. And so YCDC is entered into an agreement with us to help us raise those funds. So they'll raise it through, and they'll be the fiduciary, and then they'll pass those funds over for us for this project. Thanks, Frank.
Any other questions?
And I don't want to speak on your behalf, but just for the edification of everybody else here, on the screen is a map of the area. The yellow parcels are all the RDA-owned lots. And in the center, these orange highlighted ones are the 14 parcels that we are considering Hope Gardens proper. And this may be dated, but generally,
Yeah, it's a little dated.
it's a little dated. This is an older one from Nancy. Generally, this is the plan that Foursquare has developed for parking or for development. And when Anthony references that he received approval from zoning hearing board, it was for things like minimum lot size and lot coverage to be able to create this alley down through the middle and provide parking or no parking, depending on, that's still, I think, up for discussion. And to build 2 rows of 10 houses each. So that gives you a little bit of a sense of what this could potentially look like in relations to how it would fit into that site.
All right, any other questions? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to authorize staff to negotiate and execute a redevelopment agreement for the 14 lots at 420 through 446 West Hope Avenue with Foursquare Construction?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And abstaining?
Abstain.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Anthony.
Seeing that no one is here from statewide, Blanda, are you going to,
Yes, I can speak to
next up.
statewide as well. As you're well aware, this has been under option agreement for quite some time. And this is what we refer to as the Graybill site. And it's two parcels at 304 North Broad and 200 North Broad. Ironic and odd numbering, but the front lot where there are cars parked is actually a separate parcel named 304, and the lot behind it is actually numbered 200. Total area is a little over an acre and a half. They have been through zoning hearing board, planning commission, similar to Fred and Anthony, for the development of roughly 120, what they're calling attainable housing. So these will be certainly not market rate and not subsidized by any kind of ARPA money or federal funds or low-income housing. It is just them providing an affordable unit. We're really excited about it. The bigger challenge with this site historically has been the environmental constraints. There was some environmental contamination, and there was a study done years ago to potentially develop the site, and there are environmental covenants. Those covenants did not address a residential use. And because they're going in to do a residential use, they had to do additional test borings and submit a new plan to DEP for approval. And we finally just, at the beginning of this month, beginning of March roughly, got word from DEP that they've received the report, and they have 90 days to reply with any of their comments or changes. So in the next 90 days, we should be good to go, and they're ready to break ground and get started on this project. Or not necessarily break ground, finish the design, I apologize. They still have to finish the design and go through detailed permitting through the city. They did hire Warehouse as their architects, and they are moving forward on the design right now. So they are ready to exercise their option and similarly enter into a redevelopment agreement.
all right, any questions?
What's the property to the north?
Directly to the north is a privately owned car repair place. The larger one this is Still Meadows City Campus, is the larger building.
Oh, so it's two parcels.
Yeah, it's two parcels here.
I was gonna say, why did they squish all the cars in the front and nobody's using the back?
Because we keep telling them not to park on the RDA property.
Okay, good. Well, okay, but it's two users,
Yes, two different users.
okay. From up there, it looked like one.
Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion to authorize staff to negotiate and execute a redevelopment agreement for the two lots at 200 and 304 North Broad Street with statewide partners?
So moved.
A second.
Further discussion? All in favor, give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Abstain, again. My partner represents them, as Don has pointed out.
Sponsorship opportunity.
I will tee this up briefly, but I will let Frank and/or Hannah maybe explain this a little bit more. Every year, there is a really large event. It is the Downtown First Awards, encouraging development, encouraging people, celebrating people in downtown, that's hosted by Downtown Inc. and the York County Economic Alliance. And the RDA has been asked if they wish to be a sponsor of one of the awards. This is how the how Downtown Inc. and the Economic Alliance make these events happen is with their sponsors. And it was asked if the RDA would be interested in becoming a sponsor of an award for the fee of $1,000. I think it's a great promotional idea. It's a great way to show that we encourage people to do things in York. And we do, in your packet, there is a choice of awards that the RDA could sponsor. Either downtown revitalization, historic edgy destination, downtown champion, flavors of downtown for restaurants, cultural catalyst, collaborative impact awards, small business awards. So there are a couple different that the board could choose from to sponsor. And Frank, you want to elaborate on that?
Ladies first.
I mean, you know what I'm going to say, but I feel like it makes sense for it to be some award that is within the redevelopment. And it can be, I got some clarification because I know we had some questions, but it can be residential or a commercial property. It doesn't have to be, one or the other. It can be large or small. And it's definitely a good way to bring, some eyes on things that the RDA does as well but we cannot select the owner or the award winner. We can suggest, of course, and nominate, but we cannot select the owner. Why do I keep saying owner? God.
Well,
They all own the award. I have one.
dog.
I own my award.
so to take it a step further, so this idea was generated out of a strategic planning meeting, I believe, which Patrick Ball led us through. And one of the things identified was that although the York City Redevelopment Authority does a lot of good work, we could do even more good work if there was more awareness as to our existence. We're collaborating with more and more other entities like the York County Land Bank Authority, et cetera. But so the thought was, let's get it out there a little more. It's not pocket change, but for the awareness and the community that attends that, it seemed like it was perfect. I happened to be there at the time for Better York. And so there's an award in Mr. Appel's name, the Beautification Award. So it always goes out to some downtown merchant or property owner that's really cleaned up and, maybe landscaped or put flowers up around their property. And it kind of promotes the existence of Better York. So the thought was this would be a great way to do the same. And to be honest, to have people like our chairman, Michael Black, and our workforce, Blanda over there, have an opportunity to be the face of the RDA and to attend these things and to, hand out the award. Now, to take it a step further, I think we should be mildly insistent with Downtown Inc. that they can pick who the award recipient is, but we'd really like to have several projects that went through the RDA. So maybe the winner is ultimately going to be somebody who did an RDA project. But the whole point is it's advertising us to say, hey, look what you can do with an RDA property. Look, this gentleman made a 4-unit, or this person, rehabbed this and made it into a church. Or they took this vacant lot and attached it to their property and landscaped it. But, whatever it is, commercial as well, if it's possible, I think it should be an RDA project because we're paying for it. And if, downtown revitalization, number one, sounds like the most appropriate category.
I gathered that's what you were recommending.
There's nothing that says they can't tweak the verbiage just a hair to make it, we're selecting amongst, whatever. Or maybe it's a whole new category that's not on there. But I think we want to promote our projects a little bit if we can. And, we don't have to pick the winner.
So the nomination process is public, so anybody can nominate, and we can, whoever can all nominate all RDA projects. It can be like a.
Oh, I got
full
it. So the
Yeah.
public, so all of these categories are open to the
Yep.
public.
And
Okay, that's
everybody
great.
can nominate, yeah.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. So we
Yeah.
just need to make sure, Belinda, wink, wink, lots of city RDA projects get nominated.
And if I recall, and I think it's still this way, that the selection panel is one of York's best-kept secrets, that nobody knows who the
I don't
choosing.
even, I don't think I even know.
Even
Yeah.
their staff, yeah. Because I know I was on it one time, and I was really honored. It was like super top secret guy.
So we're just voting today to do this. We're not necessarily choosing one of the other awards at this point, or are we doing both?
That's totally your call. I mean, first step is whether we think it's,
I think you should leave it up to the discretion of Blanda and board member Hannah Beard
Well,
to negotiate which award and which verbiage and how it shakes out.
I would just say it took a long time to come up with these categories.
Okay, so maybe they're inflexible and we leave them alone, and maybe
Yeah,
but I think maybe we just get a vote to authorize the expenditure and designate a liaison to make sure we get lots of visibility as a result.
All right, any other questions, comments?
I will say as a staff, I do like the revitalization award as a business nonprofit individual who rehabs a project, which is great. But I like number 6, which is the collaborative impact award, because I'm a big believer in collaboration. And if we can make an introduction and get out of the way, that's, some of the best collaboration we do is
Especially-
that kind of work. So I'm a fan of both, just publicly.
Well, and you guys will get 30 seconds up there to chat and promote, we have even if it isn't one of our projects that wins the award, you can say, we have stuff like this in our inventory.
Right.
You can make sure everybody knows.
All right, anything, any other comments, questions? All right, is there a motion to spend $1,000 for sponsorship to support the downtown at the Downtown First Awards?
wait, I don't have to abstain
Category to be
from this,
determined.
right?
Don,
Do I have to abstain?
does Hannah need to abstain?
Okay, I don't know.
Well, you're a W-2 employee of the
Yes.
entity?
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
Oh, then, yes.
okay, yes.
Okay, so
That evil money.
I will happily make the motion that expenditure be incurred and that a combination of Hannah Beard and Blanda sort out exactly which award we get and how that works.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, give the consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Staff report.
I wanted to give a brief update on just one of our projects right now is the Northwest Triangle project, and I know that the board has seen this, but I think the public would like to see it as well. This is an aerial photo. Well, actually, they have mounted a pole with a large webcam on top so that their project and their company can monitor the project at all times. And this is from, was it Monday? The 17th. So this is actually from 2 days ago. Frank, to your point, proof that work is happening there.
I know I complained last month.
Right.
I drive by there a couple times every day, and ever since I complained like a month ago, every time I drive by, it's like, oh, they're starting to move.
All of the foundations are in.
Back.
Yeah, the foundations are completely in. The walls are poured, and they're starting to backfill the utility trenches. They report that the stair towers, which you'll see here, stair and elevator towers, will start to be blocked up starting in the next week or two, and that by April, we will start seeing steel being erected.
Oh, wow.
The first floor is all steel framed, the commercial spaces. And you can barely see it on here, but you can see little steps in the wall where the elevation changes as this building comes up in grade. Each one of those is essentially a retail space. So there are about 6 retail spaces that come down Beaver Street and then turn the corner. This is some storage and mechanical rooms, and they're actually going to have a leasing office and a rental office of their own, probably in this space. Once the steel gets set, the level 1 and through 6 will start to be framed up. And the interesting thing on this project is that they're doing a panelized construction. So this building will go up very, very quickly because they're having the panels built off-site, trucking them in and craning them into place. So this building will start to rise extremely quick. Then it will pause because then they have to go back in and do, of course, all the wiring, plumbing, and drywall and make all the connections. So,
Are the panels concrete?
no, it's all wood frame timber. It's all like stick-built off-site. And a lot of that has to do with the site constraints. There's not a lot of room to lay down and stockpile wood. So they're working out a method to bring in tractor trailers full of panelized walls and go from there. So it's very exciting to see. It's, just a short 20 years in the making. But we have progress.
How is their neighbor, the Colorworks building, faring during this process? Are we hearing any
Haven't heard a peep.
good?
No, I
Not disrupting?
And I purposely try to stay out of that. They're grown adults that are both have construction knowledge, and so far, what I've heard is everything so far so good. Now, you will see along this edge, you will notice this looks tight, is because the property line for our property is actually about at the end of these parking spaces, and this fence will be taken out, and this driveway will go in behind this building. And these spaces will be replaced somewhere else for Seth, for Predix properties. So this is probably the next step, is taking this down just to allow better site access. So forward motion is really exciting to see. And then the other thing I had on the agenda was a general staff update on our inventory. And I think we are close to being able to issue a press release about this, because when I first started the RDA, this was back in 2019, the RDA had about 300 parcels to its name, titled. And this is a direct download of everything from the York County GIS with everything that's in our name. So we have 144 properties, or parcels in our inventory. 62 are under agreement for a total of 206. And I've broken them out a little bit. We have, of course, working with Annalisa, we've got garden lot license agreements. There's 20 parcels in that. We have 12 parcels that are a community park, and this is generally 13 to 29 East Maple. Little Jimmy's, there's a pathway to Little Jimmy's Park up on North Beaver Street that is owned by the RDA. We have a lot of 500 South Queen Street that is some trees. And we have, I call it Yoko, it's the garden on South Penn Street at Penn and College that Yoko used to maintain, that is actually an RDA parcel. We have 5 parking areas. One is at the King Street Police Station. 2 of them are all the houses in Newton Square. One is on West Locust Street for the neighbors there, and one is Lot 20 at Roosevelt and Philadelphia. We actually have 1 parking garage titled in our name, and that's because of bond financing for the Commerce Center parking garage. That's actually titled to the RDA for the bond financing, but they have full responsibility of that. We have 3 structures that are not for sale. Of course, Penn Market, the Salem Square Community Center, and 228 South Penn, which is a property that the RDA acquired last year, adjacent to Hope Street. We have 1 structure for sale, and this is kind of the amazement of the parking, of the potential press release. I think this is the first time in almost 40 years that the Redevelopment Authority has nothing for sale. And I just got an email an hour ago from somebody who potentially wants to put that under redevelopment agreement. So by next month's meeting, we may be entering into a redevelopment agreement for our very last property that the RDA owns, structure the RDA owns. And then we do have 7 properties, kind of related, they're undevelopable lots, are backyards, easements. We actually own a railroad track. We own a lot along the creek. There's a lot, and I can show you, I purposely left up my map. These highlighted in red behind Logos Academy, these are owned by the RDA. These are owned by the RDA. These are the parking lots over in Newton Square. If you go up to George Street, this parcel across from the stadium is actually owned by the RDA. So there's some oddball lots that the RDA owns that they probably shouldn't. This is one of my favorites, is that we actually own these two little lots in the middle of Farquhar Park for some reason. So there's a lot of title that needs cleaned up, a lot of things that need maybe transferred to the city, maybe transferred to an owner. Our vacant lots, another one of my favorite ones is this particular parcel on Church. We actually own this lady's swimming pool. So there are some title defects that need to be changed up. So that's what we reference when I have 18 backyards and easements. And then we have 7 that show up in the courthouse as eminent domain. As soon as we file for a property for eminent domain, title transfers to the redevelopment authority's name. And those properties are down below here at 512 West Jackson, 590 Salem, 144 East Philadelphia, 455 South George, 400 South Sherman, 539 West King, and 528 Dallas. Those are 7 that we are currently going through for acquisition through the courts. And we have 77 vacant lots, and these vary, again, back to the map. We do have clusters of vacant lots, like the 100 block of East Church and South Queen. There are an area just south of that on 700 block of South Court Street. And there are a couple that are randomly scattered throughout, adjacent to other parcels, that are saying kind of would be difficult for someone to build on. These are West Charles. These are really 2 difficult lots with K-rails all around them and cars parked on them that we constantly have to maintain and kick people off of. And then on the properties that we have under agreement, we have 11 structures that are currently under redevelopment agreement. We have none to be demolished, none under option agreement, 14 that are under redevelopment agreement that are vacant lots. And some of these are Habitat for Humanity, the Northwest Triangle. There are 2 lots on West Hope that Miss Bobby's Place is working on. We have 5 that we just acquired on behalf of LifePath out on West Philadelphia, and there are 14 that are owned or under agreement with Dentsply. So we do have 62 lots that are under agreement, 144 that are, I want to say, quote unquote, available. You know, the garden lots always have a clawback provision. We could sell them if a project comes along. Community park certainly could be sold or developed, but it's been a park. We maintain it as a park. The big stickler is the 77 vacant lots, and I'm constantly talking with developers and trying to encourage somebody to build new. A lot of times the numbers just don't work. We're trying to find partners who are interested in doing that. And for anyone listening or cares to learn more, the interesting thing about vacant lots is that a new construction for a residential structure would be eligible for the residential tax abatement program. So somebody could build a new house for themselves and live there without paying any property taxes for 10 years to the city. School district and county are phased in at 10% per year, but there's a huge incentive for somebody to build new. So it's just a nice little update. I'm feeling really proud of what this board has accomplished and what we have going on right now. So kudos to you guys for sticking with me.
All right. Thank you. Any questions or comments? All right. Anything else for the good of the order?
I do have one question. Initially, we made a motion for 14 parcels for Hope Garden. We did have a phase 2 and 3 plan. I know we had an option agreement on that. I believe it also expired in December. So the motion I would love to consider is for the 24 lots in that area. Yeah, so the park and gravel lot, and then those few spaces to the right, and then those 3 parcels on Green Street. So I missed that earlier. I thought we were talking about all of it, and I just kind of caught wind of that.
Were the others under option?
That expired a long time ago.
They were, though.
Not, yeah, they were at one time, yeah.
So which,
What would be the process that we need to do to get those under agreement as well? Do we need to enter into a new agreement, or what would, bring that up at the next project committee meeting, or?
Yeah, I would like to see a plan for them, even if it's a sketch plan or an idea of what would happen there, and see what's possible. I know you and I have talked, and when we've came up with a bunch of different ideas.
Yeah.
But we can certainly,
Maybe the plan was for the gravel lot to have a laundromat with apartments above, and the other lots look similar to the ones on the garden. That's the last thing we.
yeah, right, yeah.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make that comment, so I don't know what the resolution is, but we'll figure it out.
Perfect.
all right, anything else for the good of the order? All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
Oh, look at all the,
Good job.
look at the attendance. You really brought the ratings up, Michael. Maybe bringing a pregnant woman probably is what did it.
It's gotta be it.
Poor lady.